So off they go there, a little bit misty and overcast. There was a slight hint of a little drizzle as they left Robertson, and may have had a bit of a damp first 45 minutes or so on the route, but really nothing to worry about. Big men's elite field, and hallmark of the Absa Cape Epics over the last few years is the absolute speed that they leave that start area, charging off the line and straight up the yellow jerseys on the front there with Robach and Gesma making sure they are in attendance straight away. So a real battle here. You heard there Jaroslav Kolhavi, maybe we'll try something today. Seldom these guys give anything away at the start there, but that is as good as you're going to get from these guys. Yes, we might try something today. Look at Van der Hayden and Frischneck, the Scotsram young guns, going up to the front. They're free to fly because Nino Schurter and Matthias Sternemann no longer in the race.
Yeah, I think a lot of these teams that haven't gotten something out of the race up until this point will be fancying their chances for the Dimension Data hotspot that comes just after 16 kilometers today. This stage, I think yesterday we clearly saw that Kulovi and Grotz were the strongest in the field, and they would feel it was a missed opportunity to gain.
They don't get dropped early on here. Oh, here's trouble. Now this is the Grand Masters, Robert Sim and Udo Bultz. Udo Bultz, a veteran of many years on the road. Tour de France rider, of course, and you can see the slime seeping out of that tire puncture for them. Now they had a huge lead, 60-minute lead at the start of the day in the Grand Masters. So over Barty Bucher and Hans-Joch Gerber.
It's very interesting there. It was using a hand pump. I wonder if they were trying to, they must have put a tube in and just trying to inflate it a little bit before bombing it. Cannot confirm that, but there's a lot of slime out of that tire there.
Well, that's Barty, at least Udo Bultz, Barty Bucher behind them. They've won before, Barty Bucher. What we are going to be looking at here, Arabella Wine Estate. Now they hug the Langeberg Mountains on the right-hand side of the R60 for much of the route here today, Christo.
Yeah, much of the route is along the mountain range. The first big challenge of the day is them into not a hotspot, at least them into the Peters Express. A single-track climb is quite rocky, and expect the field to be strong out there because it is a single-file climb. Then it's up and down rollers up until they get to the Pen Hill climb that comes quite late in the stage at around 78 kilometers, and downhill from Pen Hill up to Ney. Then there's that quite rocky technical incline next to the fence that takes them up to the dam, and from the dam, the Brandbach Dam, they drop down into the finish here at the RTS Drosta in Worcester. So a very fast finish from that thing that is through the vineyard, so not particularly technical.
Beautiful trails here for Jaroslav Kolhavi, Howard Grotz, and then Canyon Topik very much in it. So are Nicola Robach and Daniel Gesmeyer. Those three teams just starting to separate themselves a little bit there. Amazing trail there.
We can confirm that Alban Carter and Christian Heineck did take the Dimension Order hotspot, and that was just after 16 kilometers.
So this is interesting. The yellow jerseys, one of the yellow jerseys there. Buff Scott has one rider there, and so do Centurion Vardova as well, because 2:23, not a huge gap. Grotz, Lecata, Heineck. Glance over his shoulder for the former Czech champion.
Yeah, just checking back to see if the guys are there. Pretty sure he won't be able to see them. And on the front again, you can see Kulovi driving the pace.
Just you can see the world champion stripes on the armbands of Albert.
Stay with them and stay together, but if they want to win the race, at some point they would need to attack.
Well, Buff Scott really have been the revelation of this race throughout here. They've been amazing from the get-go at that prologue. Carretero and Pinto.
It looks like Carter slightly struggling and yo-yoing off the back there.
There's Lecata. Well, it happened yesterday for Investec Songo Specialized. It happened for their women's team on the opening day. Back to the women's race, and Sabine Spitz dropping back to join Robin de Groot. Team Ascend herself. Looks like all the leaders are together there. The orange jerseys up front there. Gita Michiels is there, and so is Ariane Luti. So all the leading women's teams are compacted together.
All together. The only team seemingly missing from this group is Annie Lars and Mariska Strauss, the third team in the overall GC.
Yeah, Silverback KMC have had a really good week so far, and they were looking so comfortable there. They came to the finish with Ariane and Gita Michiels as they come into the Energate rehydration zone here. And look at Sabine Spitz taking
stage one course, so we got a good taste of it, and it's a lot of fun. but I'm happy just doing it at that speed. I mean, I did a lot of suffering in my career, so I'm not quite ready to take all that on again.
But it is interesting as we watch now the yellow jerseys. This is Emmanuel Fumik and Enrique Avancini digging deep here in the yellow jersey. 2 minutes and 23 the deficit, and they're on that damn wall right now. And it looks like these guys are going to lose the yellow jerseys today, thanks to that power from Investec Songo Specialized. However, that gap, we're not entirely sure exactly what that gap is at this stage, but they're doing all they can to close it down.
Well, you see, these guys are in full time trial mode. The hands just narrow on the bars, trying to get that little bit aero, and that makes just a massive difference on the mountain bike. But it's funny, and I've felt it myself. You come off the trails and onto a sealed surface, it feels like you're a bit bogged because the mountain bike tyres tend to grab a lot onto the asphalt. It's really tough riding, but these guys will have to rely, I think, on a little bit of cat and mouse amongst the front two teams to see who's going to win the stage.
One big thing missing from his palmares.
And I got that impression when I heard him speak at the press conference in Cape Town before the race started. You spoke before about Nino Schurter wearing the world champion jersey because he gets right of way as the XCO world champ. And Licata, he said, well, I think I should be wearing it because this is more of a marathon. So he sort of has a point to prove, and he was really fired up. And you can see that. And I think as the race goes on, it's right up his alley to just ride it like it's a marathon. Go for it every day, try and wear them down. He's got to make the race as hard as possible because then the advantage swings to him. Yeah, this is the yellow jerseys then, Fumik and Avancini on their own with, well, not entirely, are they? Because we've got a camera bike and the e-bikes on the road here. And this is another one of the just fantastic initiatives taken by the organisation here to get these pictures out live from the race. I think people at home or watching streaming online, they take for granted being able to watch races, and particularly road races has always been pretty easy, but to get the pictures out from a mountain bike race is simply incredible, and you see how clear, how stable this is. So the fact that it's able to happen, thanks also to Dimension Data for making it happen and all the hot spots they've created along the route. It's the technology is just amazing, and bringing the sport this side of the
Topik, world champion Alban Licata and his partner Christian Heineck look likely to take the stage. It's quality athletes. Been waiting for their turn, been waiting for a long time for a stage win, and it's finally coming.
Thanks very much to Neil Garden up in the helicopter tracking Alban Licata and Christian Heineck. We reckon they're inside the last 4 kilometres here, maybe 3 to go on this tarmac road. They'll hook a left just before they get into Worcester and go onto the last bit of dirt road through a paddock and then onto the school, which is on the outskirts of town on the southern part of Worcester, which you can just see the outskirts up there, the Langeberg Mountains in the distance. So Alban Licata and Christian Heineck absolutely hammering this there. You heard that was Howard Grotz who had a difficulty with the...
I believe Jaroslav is leading Howie to the finish, where these two boys are similar strengths and they can share the work.
They certainly can. This is Licata and Heineck on his tail there for Canyon Topik. They'll be loving this, Alban Licata. It's a long while since he's got himself into contention to really contest an overall at the Absa Cape Epic. So he'll be delighted. They're into the finish area now. Alban Licata and Christian Heineck. They'll turn that last left. It's stage 3. It's 122 Ks and stage winners Canyon Topik into Worcester. They've taken the win ahead of Investec Songo Specialized. Very, very strong riding indeed from Canyon Topik. Why we have Christoph Sauser sitting alongside me. He's got his clock running, and there they come. So it's going to be fascinating to see what that comes down to. Jaroslav Kulhavi, Howard Grotz into the school grounds now, nudging towards a minute. It'd probably be around about a minute. Grotz, he's taking a few shots here today.
Yeah, Howie, he doesn't look so good on these last kilometers. Recovery will be the key for him, and very, very important for tomorrow.
1:05, 1 minute and 5 seconds. There and thereabouts, Howard Grotz and Christoph Sauser.
It's now ahead of second place, and if they play it smart, they're in the top seat, in the hot seat for winning this race.
Well, not since 2010 has Alban Carter won a stage at the Absa Cape. Epic Munsters 5. Here come the yellow jerseys. It's Manuel Fumig and Enrique Avancini, but still little time to just get a bit of air from these guys. They love riding their mountain bikes. They are serious cross-country racers, of course, but there's no question there are contenders in this race. 40 days in yellow yesterday. Will it go today? We'll wait and see. It may well, a minute and 5 back. We'll see if they lose that jersey to Investec Songo Specialized. It may well be that it'll be a few seconds in it by going into tomorrow.
Yeah, very exciting. That's what you want to see. As a racer, it's very hard. But you know, there's many days to come. You shouldn't count seconds here. You have to play day by day. That's very important that you don't get too focused on Sunday, on the last day already.
Of course, the journey to Val de Vie, and we're halfway there to Val de Vie, which is over the mountains and not too far away in Paarl. We'll go to Wellington before then, but Val de Vie is the ultimate goal for every single one of these riders. And who will be wearing those yellow jerseys when they get in there? It looks like we may have new leaders. So it's already 2 minutes between this and Investec Songo Specialized. So 2:23 was the gap at the start of the day. So I think we could have Kulhavi and Grotz in yellow tomorrow, but it'll only be seconds. And as Christoph Sauser said, don't worry about the seconds. But you know what? It must be nice riding in the yellow.
It is super cool feeling putting that jersey on. I don't agree with Robbie. In mountain biking, if you have the yellow, you don't want to play tactics not going into the yellow. It's it's just mentally, it's so important. And you know, if you can stay with number 2, it's as I mentioned yesterday, it's a winning day basically. By the way, I think it's the first time ever the pairing Hinek and Alban win the stage after Absa Cape
together. Yes. Yep, and that's a significant move for that pair. So it is going to do their confidence the world of good. The gap is now 3 minutes and they haven't entered the grounds yet, so they will be certainly not in yellow jerseys tomorrow, this pair, but it will be Investec Songo Specialized who will be in the yellow jerseys, but they won't be too concerned. Manuel Fumig and Enrique Avancini, who've got that 39-kilometer very, very tough time trial on Friday in Wellington, and then 2 relatively shorter days, 76k days, taking us to Val de Vie on Saturday and Sunday. Well, Saturday stage and Saturday around Wellington, Sunday into Val de Vie.
It seems like the 2 taking very long turns. At the beginning, when I've seen, was always Manu in front, and now all the time Avancini. In my eyes, would be better just to rotate a little bit more.
They'll close in on the school. They've had a tough day, this pair, in the yellow jerseys. Perhaps 3 of them tomorrow. They'll be a little more relaxed as they head through the gate and onto the grounds here at RTS Drosti. Enrique Avancini and Manuel Fumig of Cannondale Factory Racing. They will relinquish the yellow jerseys. They finished 3rd today, having won the last 2 stages. And they are now, we reckon the gap to Investec Songo Specialized 4 minutes, which makes it 5 minutes to our leading riders. There's Avancini and Manu Fumig. Let's hear from them.
Yeah, pretty rough. I mean, 122k's longest stage of the Epic, and the guys specialized in top peak on the first climb into the herd box, and then just made the move. And we just tried to control the damage. We're riding clever in the bunch in the back, and then at one point at Land Rover technical terrain, we made the move, and then we came together with the Scott Buff guys. Worked pretty well together. I think we didn't. We even closed the gaps to the front guys, and then their guys got a flat tire, and then from there on we cracked on, and it was more or less like a time trial to the finish. Tough day, but we made it, and we're quite happy about it. Still a few more long days to go to the finish, and so far everything is under control. We lost the yellow jersey, but it's not a problem. Or we can get it back.
No, I like our green jersey.
So you think going into tomorrow's stage, a lot of riders are saying it's going to be the toughest one, at least on paper. Do you think it's maybe an advantage going in not leading tomorrow, a little bit of pressure off?
I said it earlier, the yellow jersey always feels a bit heavy also because there's a lot of expectations and pressure. But tomorrow we go with our Cannondale jerseys and we go again for the hunt. Tomorrow is a good stage for us, a lot of single trails left and right, and we try to put them now into the hurt box.
Okay, recover well and good luck for tomorrow.
We try hard.
Thanks a lot.
It's obviously where you can find out when you are in the race. You can get along very well outside of the race, off the bike, but then it can actually be quite different when you are on the bike.
Pause there just to get the presentation ceremony, flower presentation of the men's race out on the stage. They seldom not happy are Enrique and Manu. Lovely to see. Even though in third today, they've lost the yellow jerseys, but they just love riding their bikes and love riding together, clearly. There's a partnership that really get on well.
Yeah, definitely. They seem to know each other quite well.
Another new combination, Howard Grotz and Yaroslav Kulhavi. And we saw today Howard did start to take a bit of strain today, no question. This is uncharted territory for him. He did ride last year, but as I said earlier, not at the real sharp end. He was riding in support of Kulhavi and Souza. Well, it's 8 years since Alban Lecata stood on the top step of the podium for a stage, and 4 years since Christian Heineck, and they're back together. They never won a stage together, but they are now on the top step of the podium, which will delight them and Canyon Topik and give them so much confidence for the week to come as we head to Val d'Abi in Nepal and the finish. It is all to play for.